Dricus du Plessis is the most entertaining fighter on the roster. I've had this take for a while now, man, but I need to cement it and say that it is a fact. The most entertaining fighter is not Pereira. It's not Makhachev. It sure as hell is not John Jones. It is Dricus du Plessis. And when you break it down, it's easy to see, okay? The first thing I'm going to tell you is the guy has 22 wins in his professional career. 20 of them are by finish. I'm sorry, let me say that one more time. He has 20 finishes out of 22 wins, okay? So what you can't do is say, this guy's boring, okay? And you can say he's sloppy or whatever you want to say, but the guy is not boring at all when it comes to his fight style. And on the mic, he's fantastic. He knows how to get into people's head. He does this evil laugh. And he has made 2 grown men cry. He breaks people mentally and physically in the octagon. This guy is absolutely the most entertaining fighter on the roster, and I'm about to tell you why. When it comes to Dricus du Plessis' style, it's unmatched. It's unique. It's different. And I remember early on in his career how much people talked about, oh, this guy sucks, and oh, this guy's this, and he's so sloppy. And look where he's at now. He is the champ of the middleweight division and defended his belt once against the best middleweight of all time in Israel Adesanya, okay? Look, I know in those early fights in the UFC versus Till and versus Brunson, it was a little bit hectic, but what you can't say is the fights were entertaining, because they were. All those guys were really tired. Brunson and Till were tired, and DDP ended up getting the finish. And I know it was a little bit sloppy, and I will say he is a kind of a sloppy fighter, but the way he does it is unique, and it's super fun to watch. I mean, look, after the nasal surgery, man, this dude has seemed to be a different fighter. He goes in there versus Robert Whittaker, who I had bet on Dricus du Plessis at the time. I was huge on him, and I thought he was going to break Whittaker with that pressure, and he did, okay? This guy is so strong and durable, all right? In that Whittaker fight, man, he was losing the first round, but then he gets a hold of Robert Whittaker and throws him over his shoulder, all right? That is not something that regular people do. Robert Whittaker is notoriously known for his takedown defense, and he's going to show it versus Chimaev this weekend, hopefully as well. But Dricus just threw him over his shoulder like nothing, okay? This guy is a different kind of beast, man, And then he comes out in the next round and finishes Robert Whittaker, which we've seen, not a lot of people do, especially at middleweight. Only one person has done that, and that's Israel Adesanya, okay? One person has finished Robert Whittaker at middleweight. 2 people now, because Dricus did. And then he gets a title shot versus the most boring fighter ever. Sean Strickland is a boring fighter. He has the same style of the push kick, the jab, the 1-2. It's not fun to watch. But Dricus du Plessis made that fight fun to watch because of his style. He comes out there and he's trying to take your head off. I remember Dricus was just kicking Sean's legs, and Sean was checking the kicks, but Dricus didn't care. He just kicked the shin to shin multiple times in that fight. And this guy just, he finds a way to win. He was able to take Sean Strickland down. And I will say this, Sean Strickland is definitely not easy to beat because of his style. He has really good takedown defense, and, his style is landing a lot of volume. Dricus du Plessis was able to win that fight because he wants it so bad, and he is determined to break you. And then he goes out and defends his belt versus the best middleweight of all time in Israel Adesanya. And he finishes Israel Adesanya. One other person has done that, and that's Alex Pereira. One other person. Nobody has ever submitted Israel Adesanya or really have been even close to doing so. And Dricus du Plessis did it with no effort, okay? He was winning that fight on the feet as well. This guy, it's when people say bad things about him, it's okay, but you can't say he's not fun, bro, okay? And in that fight versus Israel Adesanya, man, you saw Izzy ripping the body with nasty combinations of the body, and DDP did not care. He kept walking forward, determined to break Israel Adesanya and get the finish, and that's what he did. Man, when I look at this guy's skill set, you could say whatever you want about his style and it's goofy or this and that, but he doesn't stop coming forward. And no matter how many shots he eats, he's still going to come forward. You saw him in that Sean Strickland fight. He'd been popped by the jab about 100 times, and he still was walking forward, determined to beat Sean Strickland. This guy's heart is unmatched. His strength, his durability, his cardio, man, the guy is so fun to watch, and I get excited every time he has a fight because I know he's going to come out there and give it his all, man. And now I'm about to talk about his media presence. When it comes to the mic skills of Dricus du Plessis, I think they're easily number one in the UFC, okay? It's not John Jones. It's not Makhachev. It's definitely not Pereira, who will not take the time to learn a lick of English, which everybody speaks. It is Dricus, okay? This guy broke the guy that talks the most shit and is the most controversial person in the UFC, and Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland is known for saying the most outrageous, stupid and disgusting things. There's a clip of him saying something about, a fighter dying to a bus, or like an aspiring UFC fighter dying into a bus, where he was making fun of him. And then Dricus goes out there and makes Sean Strickland cry, flips the script on him. And man, I can't lie to you guys, that me as being a Sean Strickland hater, I was so happy to see that. I just could not. I had a smile ear to ear. I was so happy to see that. Now, look, I'm not going to say he has the skills of this guy back here, but I think if the UFC actually promoted him a little bit more, I think, he'd have a definitely, make a lot of money for the UFC. They do not promote him enough. Okay, they promote Shama and fucking John Jones. Promote Dricus, man. He is the superstar of the UFC. He is, okay? His fight style is relentless. And on the mic, he's a villain on the mic, man. You see him smiling and getting in people's heads. This guy has some, incredible aura. I mean, the dude, I know before, when those fights with Brunson and Till, it wasn't great, but he rebuilt it up after making Strickland, and then he makes Israel Adesanya cry. Israel Adesanya, he talked about the servants with Israel Adesanya, and he struck a nerve, like he said against Strickland. He struck a nerve again. And dude, I don't know what it is, bro, but we've never seen anybody do that. Make someone cry about something. A UFC fighter, a grown man, cry about words. And he did it twice. As well as I do want to mention that Sean Strickland DM'd Dricus du Plessis and told him that he would not fight him if he didn't apologize for what he said. Because if you guys remember, that was at the seasonal press conference. And, this was obviously not 297. It was after that. But yeah, he made him apologize for what he said. And I would kind of say, what a hypocrite, because Sean Strickland should apologize to all the things, he said about people, about, that aspiring MMA fighter who died to a bus crash and made fun of him for that. He should probably apologize to their families for that, because that's really fucked up, But look, this isn't about Sean Strickland. He's a loser. He's going to get his ass kicked in February. If that fight happens in February, I think it will. But look, man, I cannot talk about this guy's media presence enough, because it is the best. But the UFC doesn't promote him enough, because he is the guy for the UFC. I think he is the best on the mic, man. He's the most entertaining. I need to see more promotion for him, okay? They don't do enough, And, yeah, bro, he tried to talk shit to Robert Whittaker. But look, man, Robert Whittaker's a guy who's so extremely respectful, and it's kind of hard to do that. There's not really any other guys in the middleweight division that I know of that are really going to stir things up like Adesanya or like Strickland. So it's kind of a bummer, but in my eyes, man, I could see Dricus, digging some things up and trying to get under people's skins, because the dude, he smiles at people and he's just a villain, man. He's so annoying to deal with. I think Dricus du Plessis is the biggest star in the UFC, but the UFC doesn't do enough to promote the guy. And that's what really, pisses me off. They want to promote John Jones, and they want to promote Alex Pereira, who doesn't know a lick of English. He just knows Shama, okay? And I don't think they do a good enough job, because if you remember, man, they would promote Conor like crazy. And I know Conor's he's my favorite fighter of all time. He's a one-of-a-kind star. But, man, dude, Dricus has that ability in my eyes, dude. I really do believe that. So, yeah, man, that's going to wrap it up for me. I hope y'all boys enjoyed the video, and I will catch y'all in the next one.